Our homes have become far more than just a shelter from the elements, and often reflect our own personal style. But as we change the types of homes we live in, our homes can also change how we live inside them. Another change happening is with how homes are being built, or should I say, printed. Nestled in the live music mecca of Austin, Texas, is ICON, a company that's 3D printed more than 100 homes and is just getting started. I wanted to see firsthand how these homes are made. Co-founder and CTO Alex Roux guided me around their testing facility, showing off their one-of-a-kind building process. What's it look like start to finish to get a 3D printed home?
So you're really going to start with selecting a design that you like. We'll then send the printer to a construction site. You set up the printer over the course of 24 to 48 hours, and then we'll print the home in roughly 7 days.
So what's actually coming out of that machine right now?
Yeah, so this is our proprietary material, Carbon X, which is somewhat similar to concrete. So it still has some cement, some aggregate, some sand, some water, but it's much lower carbon than most 3D printable mixes, and it's actually 42% lower carbon than the previous mixes that we used.
So besides more sustainable, what would be some other advantages for your average American? You know, why should I get a 3D printed home?
I mean, one of the considerations is that if you live in a disaster-prone area, a concrete-built home like one of these is going to withstand the elements much better when we compare it to a stick-frame house, which is going to be very prone to fire damage or very prone to the winds of hurricanes and tornadoes.
What's the long-term goal? What's the vision for ICON?
Yeah. The vision and the mission of ICON is really to drive down the cost of construction. And the goal is longer term, robots and drones and software are doing the entire construction process. From design to construction to sales. It sounds like science fiction, but we don't think so. We think that world is actually just a couple years away.
So my next home could be a 3D printed home.
Absolutely.
So you were mentioning like one of the biggest factors is cost, right? It's everybody's biggest factor when they're building a home.
We can actually deliver a home for $34 per square foot, which is lower than the national average to build a wall system. So that's a number that we're very proud of.
I visited with co-founder and CEO Jason Ballard, who explained how much human effort goes into creating machine-made homes.
When you're in this 3D printed house right now, like this was a home whose shape and form was given to us by a robot. Does this home feel more or less human to you than the spec homes you usually see in developments in America?
I would say probably more human.
Right.
And I think it's just because of the level of intention that someone told a robot to perform.
For me, the curves and organic forms resonate somehow like with the human spirit more than sort of rectilinear boxes.
Sure. How does home ownership fit within the American dream?
Something about owning your own home or being on a path to own your own home also puts you on a path to own your future and to own your own life in a more sort of real and substantial way. The sort of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? It's probably as good a short definition as I could come up with.
What inspired ICON?
The global housing crisis is a very complicated thing, but the sort of point is something very fundamental that every human on the planet needs. We're really not doing this right. And so the reason ICON started in some real sense is it is like existentially necessary for us to shelter ourselves with dignity and without ruining the planet if the future is going to be cool.
Right.
Right. It's like you can imagine the flying cars and all the futuristic stuff you can imagine. But if the housing isn't right, it's hard to believe that any of the rest of it could be right. It's hard to believe.